I'm gonna make breakfast and talk to you about something that is very important to me. So I am former foster kiddo. I was adopted into an awesome family, love them very much. Um, I had a minimally traumatic experience, but trauma's trauma. And today I saw that Angel Studios is releasing a new movie about foster system and foster parenting and the sad crisis that we're facing with the foster care system. And under the video was just comment after comment after comment. I'm a foster parent. We have a 14-year-old daughter. She's violent. She's only ever been that way. Nobody wants her. We want to adopt her. We're praying for TPR to happen. She's damaged goods. We're scared nobody else will want her if TPR doesn't happen and she gets taken away again. Da 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 da, right? And I don't think many well-intending people who are outside of the foster influence, understand how damaging that actually is. So I'm going to break down that scenario for you and tell you a couple reasons why that's really, really not okay and really not safe. And they give you some alternatives if you're looking for somewhere to get support that isn't the internet. So another example is if a foster parent stands in front of a large group of people, like at a church gathering, and gives their testimony of how God's helped them in foster care and gives details of their kiddos or details of the struggles their kiddos have had. That's another thing that's like really inappropriate. So the biggest thing is that first, it can be a safety concern. Kiddos who are in the foster care system often don't come from a background of safe adults. And so when you're putting things on Facebook, for example, like, oh, we're struggling with this behavior, does anybody have any ideas on how to handle that? I've seen that multiple times. Then this child maybe has contact with a biological family member you don't know about. And maybe now that this biological family member has a friend that follows you or has another person they're pretending to be that is following you, they can then say to that kiddo, oh, that's so uncool that your foster mom did that. That's not okay. You should meet me at Come and Go after second period, and you won't have to live with them anymore. There's a reason they were taken out of the home. I'm not saying that in 100% of cases it's justified, but 99% it is. And that's a safety concern, right? This has happened. It does happen. It's not an everyday occurrence, but it's a really concerning one and something just to be aware about, right? So let's talk about the other reasons why that's concerning. For example, first, the language that the specific person I'm thinking about's comment that I read that just like sticker shock horrified me, right? If you are genuinely believing yourself and speaking over your foster child that they are damaged goods, that nobody wants them, they're going to believe that. Or they're going to resent you, and I wouldn't blame them if you're saying things like that. Like that's a valid emotion to have in that situation. They're going to believe that. They're then going to be like, I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of good things. I'm not worthy of being on earth anymore. You see where that's a slippery slope? It's really concerning. Like, we shouldn't be saying things like that to anybody. And just because someone's like struggling with mental health doesn't mean that it then makes it okay. Like, how would you like if I said that, oh yeah, like Susan's husband, he just like, we all know that he really struggles with drinking. He's just like damaged goods. It's a good thing Susan married him because nobody else would want him. Like, in any other social circumstance, that would be horrific. So I don't know why more people don't realize that it is, right? Let me give you another example of why this is a really bad idea, okay? This is not your story to tell. Even if you're not saying harmful things like they're not worthy of love or whatever, like, it's not your story to tell. I have had adults of people that I know and of myself, and that doesn't mean that I wasn't okay with all of this. I love my family. I've had adults tell my story to a random waitress at a restaurant. Why does she need to know? Like, it's not any of her business, and honestly, she probably doesn't want to sit here and talk to you. She'd rather be making tips elsewhere, you know? In addition, like standing in front of a church congregation and telling all the people there, telling close friends, putting it on the internet, like all of these things can be very harmful because it's not your story to tell. It's hard. Being a foster parent is very challenging, and we need to go to the appropriate spheres to seek help and support. And those spheres are not your Facebook. They're not Aunt Susan, who's like a distant relative who really doesn't see this child on a regular basis, so it's not even a concern of hers. It's not the waitress at Shoney's. It's none of that. That's not appropriate, and that just adds to the trauma, right? Kiddos often experience insecure attachment styles and inappropriate behaviors and long-term mental health concerns. We see that the brain develops, the part of the brain that's really hard to change develops before you're 3 years old. So even if this child was adopted in infancy, this story it's still their story to tell when they feel ready to do so. Another thing that can happen, and I've seen some people do this really well, I've seen some people do this horribly, is putting a narrative or assigning a moral value to the biological family of the foster child. For example, your dad's a deadbeat. He's in prison, that's why you can't see him. Okay. Your mom is a bad mom. Okay. Your grandma is a dangerous person. Okay. So, do you believe these things are true? That's for you to keep to yourself, right? A more appropriate way to handle that with a kiddo is to say like my parents did. My mom was very good at this. She said, your mom made bad choices. And when we make choices, choices have consequences. Bad choices have bad consequences. Good choices have good consequences. And that continues when you're an adult too. Your mom made bad choices. Her bad consequence was you didn't get to stay with her. I'm so happy to have you in my home. It's really sad that you don't get to be with your mom. So she was expressing her emotion, but allowing me to have my own opinion about it. It was very neutral language. Whereas I've had other people in my life who were like further from me, it didn't impact me so much, but it still was not helpful. Tell me that, oh, your dad's in prison because he's a deadbeat. Or, your mom's a bad mom and you shouldn't want to go meet her. Why do you even want to see your family? There's a normal grief process there. So it's very typical for children to experience that. And to then assign moral value like that is incredibly damaging, even for them building healthy attachment moving forward with foster parents and with safe adults. So though you may think that you're being helpful, allowing them to sever the connection from their biological family, but studies have shown us, as well as in my personal experience, that when we use more neutral, more accepting language, it then allows the child to express the feelings as they come up and they have them. And it allows the child to make their own decisions surrounding their parent. And also by demonizing their parent, right, you can also be turning that child away from you. That kiddo doesn't care what you have to say anymore because they love their dad, they love their mom, they love their grandma. So why on earth would they ever trust you again? It's just so damaging. So damaging. Some alternative things you can do, right? If you are needing support and you are a foster parent, go find a Facebook group that's specifically for like foster support And then instead of giving details like, I have a 14-year-old daughter who's extremely violent, da 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 da, pray for me, like that just screams savior complex. That's just gross. And I know it's well intending, but it's just not appropriate, right? So instead, you could go to a Facebook group that is closed, that has foster families in it, maybe a general one instead of one for your area, so like someone who shouldn't be hearing this information can't get into it, right? And then share very general things like, I'm needing support regarding a kiddo that is having a hard time with destruction of property, and make the post anonymous. It's not that hard. That's one place to receive support. Another place is go look into local churches that have foster support groups, or local non-for-profit organizations. Go talk to your case management. Go to therapy. If you're a foster parent, you should probably at least have someone that you can talk to when you hit a crisis point. Because if you're doing foster care for a while, there's going to be a point at which you're like, I don't know what to do anymore. And this is traumatic. And this is hard. And I know that that word is used a lot in our culture, but removing a child from their original home is traumatic. And being the one to try to help put the pieces of their life back together and give them some semblance of safety while they're in this temporary situation is traumatic. So therapy is very warranted there. And if you don't want to talk to a therapist, maybe talk to someone else that is guaranteed confidential. I personally don't like the idea of people without any mental health background giving mental health advice, but in a professional setting. But I understand that some mental health therapists are moving into the life coaching sphere, and that could be a good option for people who, for some reason, aren't going to therapy. But I would challenge that if you really have something against therapy, that you look into yourself and your ego and kind of examine your consciousness to figure out why that is, because that could be projected onto your kiddo who needs therapy at some point in their life. So I hope this is good information. Take it or leave it. I feel kind of entitled to this opinion because I've experienced this myself, but I also know that other people have other experiences, and that's okay too. If this is offensive to you, sorry. I don't know what to say. Not sorry for saying what I said, but yeah. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. If you want more videos about this kind of content, this kind of topic, or a review of the Angel Studios movie when it comes out from a foster kiddo's perspective or anything like that, please let me know. I spent some time in the system. I spent some time with an adopted family, moved out early, and spent some time in transitional housing. It's been years now, and I have a husband and a baby and a job and school, and life is great. So if you find value in that, please feel free to subscribe or comment what you would like to see from me. But yeah, have a great day, and I will see you next time.